I got to give you the countdown. Like one professional. 3, 2.
All right, sounds good. My name's Sayed Hashimi. I'm a senior program manager on the ASP.NET tooling team. So that's the team that creates the support inside Visual Studio for ASP.NET. And today, I think some of the topics that we wanted to talk about was, a little bit about um, what are some of the features in Visual Studio 2015 that we have for ASP.NET 5. And we could also spend some time to talk about SideWaffle. That's a open source project that I'm really excited about, and that I'm a contributor of. So I think that's kind of the high level agenda. One thing I want to let you guys know about is I've got this like nightly build that I'm running off of, and I want to let you know that you guys are you're gonna actually be the first people to actually see some of the features outside of Redmond. So I'm very excited to show you these things, and you guys should be very happy to get the first glance at these things too as well. I think Scott Hunter himself may not have even seen some of these features. So that's really interesting. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Let me know if that's coming through or not.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, just one more. Okay, click one more button there. All right, so now we've got the screen sharing set up. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So what I've done is I actually just created a new project here. So let me launch a new instance of this. And like I said, this is a fresh new build. We definitely do have some new features, but we could also have some new bugs that I might run into. So we'll just be keep that in mind as we kind of proceed. So we've got the ASP.NET Web Application template here. So what I did was I just went in here and then created a new ASP.NET 5 starter web project, and that's what I have created behind the scenes here. So let me show you some new artifacts that we have inside this project, and I guess what I'll do is I'll spend just a little bit amount of time of like some basics. And then I want to actually jump into some of the new features that we have that's not available, and that's going to be new in the upcoming release. And I want to let you know that we have recently posted a Microsoft Virtual Academy course. I think it's like 5 or 6 hours long. So all the details that I'm going to skip over here, they're available to view on video in that Virtual Academy. All right, so the first file that I want to point out to everybody is this project.json file. So this is really the file that actually is kind of driving your project. So it'll contain things such as your references to any NuGet packages under the dependencies node here. And if you had any reference to any other project, those would be inside this node here as well. Okay, and if you actually edit this file, you'll notice that now we've got some really nice IntelliSense in here as well while we're editing this file. That's how you can add a reference to your project, but if you wanted to, you could actually keep using the references node like we have here. Let me go ahead and right-click on this. Then I'll say maybe just one second. Not sure, yes. So maybe this node is not working for me, but oh, okay, my bad. Just one second. So we can't add any reference while it's actually restoring the NuGet packages. Okay. So let me go ahead and add a reference here. So I don't have any references in this NuGet package. It's okay. I was going to show you something else. Let's skip to okay. Let me. So that's what we have there. And let me go ahead and run this this project, and we'll see what's the result of this. All right, so while this is loading, I'm actually just going to go ahead and open up the directory where these files are located, and I just want to point out something. So we've got the running web application here. If I go and look at my project, we're not going to find any DLL files written down to disk here. We do have a artifacts folder, but there's no assemblies here. That's because we're actually compiling everything in memory. And we have an option if you want to persist your artifacts on disk. You can go into your properties and then go on the build tab and say produce outputs on build. But by default, we actually just compile everything in memory at runtime. And then, because we actually found out that for a lot of projects, it's actually faster for us to just compile it and hold it in memory than it is to actually read the assemblies off disk. All right. So one feature that we have that's really interesting for ASP.NET 5 is you can actually target more than one framework at a time. So inside the project.json, we have a frameworks node here. And you can see that we have two items listed, ASP.NET 5 and then ASP.NET Core 5.0. So the ASP.NET 5.0 corresponds to this node here under references, and the Core 5.0 corresponds to this node here. The core CLR is basically, it's kind of a limited subset of the full .NET framework, and it's designed for cloud scenarios. So you don't have availability to things like system.web, and then other components will actually come through as NuGet packages. So the idea of this core framework is, it's kind of more of a pay-for-play type of thing. So if your app uses certain components, you can go ahead and add those to the project, and if it doesn't use other components, you can kind of leave them out. And the other really beneficial aspect of this core CLR is that your applications can actually run different versions of the CLR side by side on the same servers. So let's say if you had 5 apps running on one machine, and then there was, let's say if you found some sort of bug that you needed to fix in one particular project that required updating the core CLR, you can update it for that one particular project, and it wouldn't impact any of your other running apps on that machine. So let's talk about when you want to create some code that's going to run under more than one target framework. In previous versions of Visual Studio, you'd basically have to do that by creating different build configurations. So we have here debug and release. And if I wanted to, let's say target a particular PCL variant, or let's say if we wanted to do what we have here for ASP.NET, target the full .NET and then the core CLR, usually I would have more than one build configuration, and then I would have to compile my code, and then I'd have to switch the build configuration to compile against that different target framework. In ASP.NET 5, we said, hey, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If I'm developing an application that's supposed to target more than one framework, the code in here has to basically compile on all those different frameworks at the same time. And if it doesn't, you should get a warning for that or an error. So let me actually show you how this works, and I'll show you that with a feature that we have that's called Combined IntelliSense. Let me just create a string here. And let's say I wanted to call the okay. So now let me zoom in on this so you can see it a little bit better. But I've got the IntelliSense loaded here on the compare to method for string, and then you can see we've got a couple exclamation points here. And now what this is saying is that the method is available for the full .NET framework, so ASP.NET 5, but this method is not available for ASP.NET Core 5.0. So what that means is if you wanted to use this method and you wanted to target both of these target frameworks, you would have to basically use some #if_def in your code, and if you're running on the full framework, you can go ahead and make the method call, and if you're not running on the full framework but on the core CLR, you'd have to maybe find a NuGet package that has the functionality that you want, or implement it in some other way. And let me actually just go ahead and call this, and we'll see what those what these errors look like. So let me go ahead and close out of this magnifying glass. I'll save it, and then I'll go ahead and build this project. Actually, this is weird. Okay, maybe we have a bug in killer. Okay, let me actually just do the clone one. I know clone is not available for sure. Okay, all right. I think there might have been some kind of weird issue with the IntelliSense, I guess, for the previous one. But in either case, let me go ahead and zoom in on the description that we have here for clone. So we can see that we have a basically kind of a missing method, and then it says that it's for the project Web Application 10, and then it specifies that this is when it's running under ASP.NET Core 5.0. So now in that case, if I didn't want to target the core CLR, what I can do is go into my project.json and just remove it. And then if I was to rebuild, the error should go away. All right, so that was kind of some combined IntelliSense, and that actually should be available in the preview build that's out there right now. Let me show you guys some new features. Let me take a look at my notes here that I had. Oh, the file watcher. Yeah. Let me show you some more basic type of items here, and then I'll go into the new features. Okay, so let me go back to the folder. One thing that's really interesting, let me unload the web application project here, and I'll show you the Visual Studio project file that we have and how it's different than what we used to have before. Okay, if I edit this file, you can see that it's still a standard MS build file, but the one big difference here is that we don't have any files listed. So this is really a big advantage for a number of reasons. For one, if your project is checked into source control, you've probably run into merge conflicts of this file because it's XML, and then the files are not in alphabetical order. So it's usually it's usually pretty common that you'll get some type of merge conflict. But then even more importantly than that, not having the files listed here makes it so much easier for external tools to get into to basically kind of integrate with Visual Studio. Because with the model that we had for Visual Studio 2013 for web projects, if you ran a tool that generated a file that should be a part of your project, now that tool had to figure out how to update the Visual Studio project file to get those additional files listed. So now let me show you how do we solve this in ASP.NET 5. Okay, so I'm going to go into the web app folder here. For every ASP.NET 5 project that you have open in Visual Studio, we have a file watcher that's just sitting in that directory. And then as I actually create files here, they should just automatically show up in Visual Studio. Let me create a new file, so I'll say sample.html, and we can see that the Solution Explorer is already responding to these file events. So if I say sample here, this guy should go ahead and change as well to see sample. So this is just another thing that's really going to be kind of a really nice to have, I think, and I'm definitely a big fan of this. Let me go ahead and close out of this solution, and then I want to kind of highlight something as well. So if you compare the contents of that project.json versus this Visual Studio file, the Visual Studio file didn't really have any critical information. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and delete this. So I'm going to delete all the artifacts that were created by Visual Studio. So delete the solution file as well. So now imagine that we're actually developing this project, let's say on Mac, because now you can actually run ASP.NET projects and regular C# projects on Mac. If you guys aren't familiar with it, you should definitely check out omnisharp.net. Those are the tools that you'll need to get started with C# and ASP.NET 5 on Mac. So my project would look like this if it was checked in on a Mac. So now let's take a look at what's going to be the experience for the Visual Studio customer here. So I'm going to keep I'm going to keep this. I'm going to open it up side by side, and then let's keep an eye to what happens on web app 10 once I actually open the project. Okay, so I've navigated to the directory. Now I can see project.json and go ahead and click open. So now Visual Studio will automatically create the files that it needs. So it's going to go ahead and create the kproj. And then, actually, a better demo would have been if I had actually set up a reference to a different project. Because what you would have seen is when it loads up your initial project, it'll create the kproj for that file. And then it will actually create the kproj for any other dependent project that you need. So it's really kind of a slick experience. But the point is, the Mac user would have just checked all the files in, and then you can actually exclude these files from source control if you want. You can also check the kproj in. The information here is not really important. It's really just like IIS Express port. So if the majority of your developers are Visual Studio developers, then I would recommend checking it in. But if the majority of them are not Visual Studio developers, then you can keep them out of your repository if you want. Okay, so that was that. Let me see what contents. Okay, project combined intelligence. Okay, cool. So now let's take a look at some of the features that we have not yet released. Okay, so now we have added some features into the debug dropdown for ASP.NET 5. I think in previous release it just said start or debug. Basically, you would just click it and it would just run your project in whatever the default browser that was configured. So now this view actually looks a little bit different than what we have in standard ASP.NET 4.5 projects. But I'm going to go ahead and explain this to you. But before I do that, let me show you something in project.json that's kind of the foundation for this. Okay, in project.json, there's a section for commands here. So ASP.NET 5 actually comes with a set of command line utilities, and you can download those in GitHub. You can go to github.com/ASP.NET/home. That's where you can find those command line utilities. But the commands that are declared inside project.json can be executed on the command line. And let me open up a notepad here. Let me do font. Let me get this set up. So actually, I'm not sure if I have the recent ASP.NET command line tools available here, so I don't want to demo this for you. But what I would do here on the command prompt, if I wanted to execute any of these commands, I would start with the K command, and then I would give the name of this command. So I'll say kweb. And then what that would do is it actually would, it's going to go ahead and take this object here, and then basically kind of instantiate this and then start it. So there's basically a main method that's defined in this particular class that's going to be started up. And then these arguments will then be passed to it. Okay, so the web method is just you can kind of think about this as like self-host. In this case, it's going to self-host with a web server. The gen command is a command that you can use to add files to your project. It's kind of like the scaffolding that we have for 4.5. So if you have an EF model, you can say kgen and then pass your different parameters, and then we'll generate the content. And then EF migrations are similar to that. So you'll say KEF to run your migrations. So now in Visual Studio, we've also enabled these options as well. So for web projects, you'll always see a IIS Express option. So that's if you want to run your web project in IIS Express. But if you wanted to execute any one of these commands, we can now actually just pick the command and then execute that. So if I wanted to run this web command, I can just go ahead and click over to the web command and then run that, and then we'll see the result. So that's actually going to go to the command line and then execute the equivalent of that kweb. The kweb behind the scenes actually calls klr.exe, so that's what we're seeing here. And then we can see that it started the it started the web server. We're going to open up a new window here, and then 5,000. All right, so there we go. So this is this is basically me running a custom command. So now this actually, you can create your own custom commands here as well. And there are some samples available online if anybody wanted to try to create some. For example, XUnit actually has created a test command. I don't have it included in this project, but what I want to show you is whenever I create a command here, it's just automatically going to show up in that drop-down as well whenever I save this file. Let me go ahead and save this. Then when I drop this down, I'll see now there's a new test command here that I can go ahead and execute. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. All right, so that was that. So that's one of our, oops, sorry about that. So that's one of our new features. Let me switch back over to IS Express after it's done restoring. Okay. All right, so now another feature that we've brought back is the ability to select the browser. So yeah, we've had this feature for ASP.NET 4.5 projects and previous releases. We've now been able to add this to ASP.NET 5, so I'm really happy about that. And then let me go back to this project.json and add ASP.NET Core 5. Okay, so now I can go into the drop down here as well, and I'll just wait for it to finish restoring the NuGet packages one more time, and then I'll show you now. We've made it much easier if you are actually creating a project to target multiple frameworks to actually switch back and forth from those frameworks. A lot easier than what it was before. So now directly in the debug dropdown, we have a selector for the CLR type that you want to run on. So if you want to run on the so profile is it's basically we're going to have some settings in the properties page. So here's what we have. So so this is the version of the target KRE, but the core CLR, the CLR name is kind of embedded within here. So you can see I just have x86. I don't have any. I'm not using the core CLR here. So that's what this option says. It says, do you want to just use the value that's specified with the profile, or do you want to go ahead and override it to use one particular framework here? So full and core. Okay, so that's so those are 2 or 3 new features that we're coming out with for that. Okay, yeah, and this actually is going to be, let me open up a different project here. So these settings are actually going to be persisted inside a JSON file in the project. And this actually, what I have here, you know, let me copy this into the other instance of Visual Studio because I've got the font set up a little bit larger there. Actually, let me just set the font up here because I'm going to show you some other things in this particular sample as well. All right. Okay, so in the properties page, on the debug tab, sorry. Oh, okay, hold on. I guess sorry, I think I discovered one of those bugs. I guess I can't have debug settings.json open when I go to the properties tab. Something else is going on. Okay, anyways, evidently I can't go into the, okay, yeah, I know why I can't, because yeah, so the values that I've actually entered here are not valid. Okay, sorry about that. Oh. Anyways, okay, the font here is not working for some reason. I'm not sure what's happening. I think that's the settings that's rolling on top of each other, but in either case, so this actually doesn't work in this particular build that I have, and it may not work in the release that goes out. But the idea is that we can create custom profiles here, and you'll define those on the properties page on the debug tab. But then we want to let you be able to customize different settings here. So for example, you'll be able to have environment variables. So when you F5, hopefully you'll be able to set an environment variable here, and then when you F5, you can pick one particular profile, and then we'll go ahead and apply those environment variables when you run the app. So hopefully it'd be a lot easier to kind of have different settings. You can run your app with different settings, so you can try different things for different target environments. And then we're going to have a lot of other settings here as well. So let's say if you wanted to configure a executable for debugging, all those values are going to go inside this one particular JSON file. And that's that. Let me see what some of the other items that we have. Oh yeah, okay, this is actually going to be really interesting. Let me go back into the other sample here. And I'm going to add a regular C# project here. Let me go to desktop and I'll say class library. Then I'm just going to add a very simple method here. Okay, so now one of the features that we've added is you actually we can add a reference to the regular C# project now. So in previous releases, it was not possible to actually reference a standard C# project. So let me go ahead and take this. I'm going to add the reference to class library 1 here. Okay, I'll click OK. Go back to my project here. Now we can see I have access to this class library here. Let me show you actually get some type of error here, but that's okay. I think I know what's going on. I'm going to actually close out of this one and go back to the other sample that I had set up. See if that was fun. All right, so here I've got the same thing pretty much set up here for my class library. Then I have a reference to it in the console app 1 here. Let me show you guys what's actually going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to go back up to web application 12 folder here. Whenever you create a reference to a C# project, in ASP.NET 5, when you create a reference to a C# project, we kind of have to take the C# project and then kind of mimic kind of an ASP.NET 5 project. So we do that with a new command that the ASP.NET team has created that's called the wrap command. So it'll basically take the class library project and then kind of wrap it up into a ASP.NET 5 project type of thing. So I'm going to go to the wrap folder, and then for each reference we'll see a folder here, and then we actually have a project.json inside this folder. So let me open that up. So this project.json basically it just kind of indicates where's the location of the project, and then where are the artifacts going to be written to. So it's actually kind of interesting what we do here. We use the solution file, and we use them as build to kind of build a bridge between kind of all the projects that we're used to creating now, and then enter this ASP.NET 5 world. So we actually will just wrap it up. And then kind of, it has all the same functionality that a normal ASP.NET 5 project would have as well, because we do have this project.json file. But the interesting part is we just use MS-build to actually build the project itself, and then we take the artifacts and then kind of wrap those up into a ASP.NET 5, like essentially NuGet package type of thing, and then go from there. So I think this is going to be something that, it's a new feature that I'm really excited about. I think a lot of people are going to be happy that they're able to now reference their normal C# class library projects. Okay, So David, how are we doing on time and everything? I guess this is an hour, right?
Yeah, no, we're doing fine.
Okay, was there how do we do questions and whatnot? I know that we've covered a lot of content. Was there any questions that have flown through throughout the meeting?
I'll just ask the audience here, has anyone got any questions at the moment of what they've seen?
I noticed it came with Grunt, that default project came with Grunt and Bower as well, and I presume NPM in the background. So is that going to be standard now?
Did you hear that, Sayed?
Yeah, I did. So basically, if I heard the question correctly, it's saying, hey, I've noticed that the starter web project has Grunt configured, and the question is that going to be standard now? So currently we have two templates. Let me show you that actually. So let me just right-click on source, and I'll say add new project. Let me go to web, and then ASP.NET Web App. So we have two templates right now. One is ASP.NET 5 empty. And that's just really exactly what it says. Is it's totally empty. You pretty much just get like a project.json, and I think that really might be about it. And then and then we've got this starter web project here. And yeah, like what you said, starter web project has Grunt and Bower and npm configured. And in future releases, we have discussed having an option for whether we would have Grunt or not. But I think where we're kind of landing at, if the project has content in it, I'm pretty sure we're going to have Grunt enabled on it. But what's people's feedback in the room there on that?
It's interesting. That's all.
Yeah. I'm just curious, who's heard of Grunt before? So we've got about 3 hands out of about 17 or 18 people.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, actually, I should put my own hand up. So 4 hands. Yeah. So, and
So,
of those 3 people, what's your reaction to having Grunt in Visual Studio?
I personally Gulp, and I'm pretty sure Gulp's included.
Okay. So we've got one person who preferred Gulp over Grunt. And I think the rest are probably not sure what Grunt or Gulp are.
Right. Yep. So yeah, you can actually use you can use Grunt and Gulp as well. So yeah, Gulp is not a problem. I don't know if we're gonna have I don't know if the tooling is going to support Gulp right out of the box or not. I'm not sure what the status is on that. For the detailed questions for, like, let's say the Grunt and the Bower and the npm, you're definitely gonna want to have Mads to come back on. And he's gonna be the guy that should come through and really talk about all that kind of stuff, I think. But I think one of the goals is for the Visual Studio customer. Let's say if you're not familiar with Grunt, hopefully Visual Studio is going to do a good enough job to where you don't have to actually go in and start editing the Grunt files and do anything outside of the ordinary. So for example, we can see all the Grunt packages which are listed here. I can do things like, uninstall them. Okay, this is npm package, but inside the actual files we have really good IntelliSense as well. So I think some of the goals are basically kind of take the Grunt concepts and for some of the people kind of put it behind the scenes. And then when you do have to actually go in that file, we try to give you a really great experience when going in that file as well. So yeah, hopefully for the guys who actually don't know Grunt that much, hopefully it's not going to be a really big deal. But if it is, now is really the chance for you guys to give us the feedback. So this is really why we do these early releases, and this is why we put stuff out there. So especially for the guys who raised their hands, or I guess who didn't raise their hands, so that we're not familiar with Grunt, definitely please, download the latest release that's out there and try it out, and then if that's something that excites you, let us know. Or if it's something that really doesn't excite you, or that you think is going to be problematic for you, then give us that feedback as well. I'm not sure how much feedback Mads has gotten on these things, but I know he's definitely got his ear to the ground and he's keeping an eye out for any feedback that's out there. So definitely do try these things out, especially because these are some areas that we're taking some big bets on. And you know, we don't always know exactly what to do the first time. You know, so feedback is a critical aspect of this. So yeah, that would definitely really help.
Yeah, we might try and get in contact with Mads and see if we can line him up for a future meeting. I think that would be really good.
I think so too. Yeah, no, I think that'd be great. Yep. Okay. Any other questions in the room?
No, I think people are digesting what you've talked about so far.
Okay. All right. Well, let me show you some stuff that I'm really.
I don't know if I wanted me to hog it or anything, but I noticed also that you've gone very JSON heavy as well, though. So not much XML in any of the projects and stuff. So that's the direction that we're taking. You're taking for the ASP.NET projects.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And one thing I want to point out to you guys is if you take a look at the JSON file, you know, Mads actually he owns the JSON editor here, and I tell you what, man, he's done a really great he's done I think a really great job in giving like a really great experience inside here. You can actually search remote NIGIT packages. You see your projects here, and then he's got some really great IntelliSense and validation, and then he's got something else going on too that's called schemastore.org, or yeah, schemastore.org. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but he actually is hosting JSON schema files for all sorts of popular JSON files. So here we can see Bower, Chutzpah, global package, so on and so forth. So if you're editing the Bower file, you'll get IntelliSense and validation inside Visual Studio, and it's kind of backed by this schemastore.org thing. So you know, I think the experience of editing JSON files inside Visual Studio is actually probably much better than the XML files as well. And you know, we're going to be continuing our investment in the JSON editors and whatnot as well, I think. So that's another aspect to it. Yep. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're definitely moving into the JSON heavy area as opposed to XML. That's right.
So this would probably also have an impact on extension writers as well, that we're making assumptions about the project files and the that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So for the extension writers out there, let me go ahead and give you some background. So the ASP.NET 4.5 projects were built on the C# and VB project system. ASP.NET 5 projects are built on what's called Common Project System. So it's an entirely new model. And yeah, you're right. You know, some of the stuff is going to change. Some of the stuff is going to be a lot easier, though. If you want to find out what files are in a project, you can just read a folder. You don't have to ask anybody. So, you know, a lot of stuff is going to be easier. So, you know, kind of the model is, hey, let's kind of make things simpler, and hopefully things will be easier. But yeah, you're right. You know, extension writers are going to have to make some updates. Yep.
Another question in the room.
And so, the other Visual Studio projects, like plain old C# assemblies and so on, do you know about the other teams? Are they going to go JSON with their solution formats, or like there's going to be this sort of MS build solution file and JSON kind of?
Yeah, well, actually, if you really look at it, so I just unloaded this project one more time. So the project, the Visual Studio piece of it is actually still MS Build, right? So I still have this part here.
So we can still buy your book. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you can still buy my book. No, I mean my book is actually going to be pretty much not that useful in this ASP.NET 5 world, but definitely go out and buy it for sure, especially now. What I'm saying is, you still have MS Build there. You can still use MS Build, and then this new project, it's not a file that's consumed by MS Build, right? So if I went to the other project teams and said, hey, are you going to change your project to be a JSON file? They would say no, and then they'd point out the fact that my project file is not JSON either. But what I have heard people ask is, are other project types going to have this, you know, all files in the folder type of approach to where I don't have to list all the files in my project? Is that really kind of what you were getting at?
Well, maybe, probably not, but that's probably the question I should have asked.
So yeah, so we have brought that up to the corresponding teams. I'm not sure where they are at with that. I haven't heard back from them, so I don't know if they're interested in that or if they're not. I think maybe they're waiting to kind of see how everybody reacts to what we have, and then if everybody really likes it, then they'll probably hopefully take it up. But I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think that was. I appreciate the question though.
Hmm.
Okay, so how about we move on and I'll show you guys some publishing updates that we have. So let me go ahead and close out of this project here, and I'm really excited about this publishing stuff. I love web publishing. I don't know why I'm crazy about it, but that's how it is. But anyway, I've got a sample project created here, and I actually have two published profiles created here. One of them is a MS Deploy profile, and we've got the preview here, and then another one is a file system profile. Let me go ahead and expand these. So just like in 2013 and just like ASP.NET 4.5, these published profiles are stored under properties, published profiles, and then they're stored as these pub.xml files. So these are actually MS build files. But that's almost kind of irrelevant in this new world, but it's actually not. But so now we've got this this pub.xml file here. One thing that's kind of interesting is I have added this use PowerShell true. It's marked false by default. And then if you look, I've got this Sayed K demo 3-publish PS1. But before I do that, let me just go ahead and make this back to false. And I want to publish one time. And then I'm going to publish with that PowerShell script and prove it to you. Let me modify my MS build verbosity. Usually I have this thing cranked up to details. Let me make this back to what it is normally. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this project to this demo site, and we'll take a look at what are the messages that show up here. So first thing that happens is we run a ASP.NET command line utility that's called kpack, and then it's actually kpack kind of expands out to be kpm cmd. Where is it? I just saw it. Oh, it scrolled up. Sorry. Yeah, kpack becomes kpm cmd with the pack argument here. So anyways, we'll call kpack, and then we call ms deploy. So after this kpack step, we can see that right after the build succeeds, we immediately start publishing here. So now let me go into this, the published profile. I'll mark this back as true on this guy. And I'll save it. And then let me go into the pub.xml file. And then I have a message here that says message from PowerShell. And then let's publish that. All right, so it should show up right around here. You know what? I think maybe it's. Let me turn my mess. Oh, no, there we go. I don't know what happened. Man, my message didn't come through. Just 1 second. I'm not sure why the message didn't come through. I wonder if maybe it's because maybe I actually need the diagnostic, detailed maybe. Okay. I'm gonna set this back. Maybe it's. I always consider this. Okay, let me try it. Okay, actually, you know what? I think it didn't pick up on my PowerShell. Actually, I'm gonna close Visual Studio and reopen it. I think it's gotten confused. I think. Let me reopen it. All right, use PowerShell true. Okay. Now let's try this one more time. Okay, here we go. Yep. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and zoom in on this guy here. So now we can see message from PowerShell exclamation point. Then let me just go through and just change this one time. All right, so I just changed it. Let me try it one more time. Okay, we can see that the new messages came through here. So message from PowerShell changed. Okay, so let me show you what's happening here. So we've got a PowerShell file, and then here we've got published properties. This is a dictionary that contains your publish properties. It actually will just contain every property that's here will be passed to it, as well as the password. And then pack output, that's the folder where the KPM pack is called to. So in this case, it's here. So let me show you. We keep it in the temporary directory. So it's this this directory here. I'm actually just going to go ahead and show you guys what this looks like. So let me go back up. Okay, so when your project is packed, this is what it looks like. And we actually have the, for every one of those commands inside project.json, we throw those in here too in case you want to run it on one. And then we actually publish from this location here. But anyways, let me, I only have like maybe 4 minutes left. I wanted to show you guys how easy it would be to actually use the same exact script that Visual Studio has from the command line. So I've got it open in the PowerShell ISE. So here we can see that all I'm doing is I'm just going to call the script, and then it should actually work. So I've got the PowerShell, I've got the publish password in a environment variable here, and then I'll just go ahead and execute this, and hopefully it should work. Let me, actually I don't think I have it. Just 1 second, copy full path. Let me cd into the right directory here. And I'm not sure if I set the password or not, but we'll find out based on the error. Oh, okay, yeah, I did set it. Okay, good. Okay, so now we can see that it actually called MS Deploy, and now it's actually publishing out. And this is the same exact script that we just used before. So it's that same Sayed K demo script here. Let me actually go back up. Yeah, see here, we can see that same exact message here. Message from PowerShell changed. So basically, the idea here is that, Visual Studio will create a PowerShell script for you. You can customize that as much as you want. You can do stuff before, after, and Visual Studio is just going to call you a script. So you don't have to know anything about MS Build if you wanted to customize your publish process. For example, I have a demo here. I have one here that I think this one optimizes images. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right, so I have a file system profile here, and I have a function here that can optimize images. I worked with Mads to create a image. We have this Azure job that can actually optimize images on a website. And then we created that into a NuGet package, and then I created this optimize images function here. Let me show it to you. But anyways, it actually downloads the NuGet package and then executes the exes from the local app data. But anyways, if I wanted to actually add that to my project, I would just add that enable image optimizer, and then I would just call it here. So. And then, here's where your actual publish happens. But we don't have too much time to get into this. But the whole point was, you don't have to necessarily know anything about how Visual Studio publishes. All you have to know is how to, modify the folder that your project is in. And then you can either do that before or after the items are published. And then all you really need to know is PowerShell. And if you didn't like PowerShell, you could always call out to a exe or a batch file or whatever other technology that you do like. So I think we went from a model that it was really complicated and people had to really know how the publish process worked, and now we're kind of going to a different model to where all we do is we call kpm pack and then we just execute the script. So that's pretty much all that we do. We got 3 minutes left, so I guess let's. Do we have any questions that came up?
Yes, a question.
Maybe it's not strictly your area, but that side-by-side deployment of .NET CLR versions, does that, I'm trying to keep my head around, does that apply to side-by-side with 3.5 or 4 or 4.5, or is it only going forwards from 5 onwards?
No, yeah, so that's only going forwards, and it's only for the core CLR, so the full .NET framework. The side-by-side doesn't apply to that, yeah.
So if you've got an existing website infrastructure running one of the previous versions, how much needs to go into deploying one of these onto it? And will it overwrite what's there, or like in the old days, or is it in this side-by-side with old stuff? Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, so if I understand the question correctly, you basically said, hey, I have an existing IIS site, and what am I going to need to install and configure on my server in order to get ASP.NET 5 running? And if that's the case, let's see, I think you would really just need to, you could just install the latest version of WebDeploy, if that was your publishing method of choice. But I think you could actually run it on IIS 7. Core CLR with IIS 7 may work without any changes, because we have a hook that's already in IIS. It's a NuGet package that we have. It's called Helios, and that hook in IIS will enable us to actually load ASP.NET 5. So I think you might actually be able to get it running without any changes whatsoever. But I'm not 100% sure. But the changes should be pretty minor. You shouldn't have to go through and make a whole lot of changes to your web servers to get ASP.NET 5 available to you.
And all that syntax highlighting and so on, and I don't remember what the terminology was, but detecting something that runs on one version versus another version of a particular CLR, that's all just 5 onwards, is it? So if you try to dual host something that is...
Yes, that's only an ASP.NET 5 project. Oh, well, yeah, exactly. So the building for more than one framework at a time, that's only for ASP.NET 5 projects, and yes, it's we wouldn't be able to bring that to ASP.NET 4 or 5 projects.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? No, I think everyone's good.
All right, cool, awesome. So definitely thanks for having me on. I'm going to try to switch back to the component here. Okay, yeah, thanks for having me on. We didn't have a chance to get to SideWaffle. If you guys haven't heard about SideWaffle, definitely do go check it out. It's sidewaffle.com. It's a collection of some really awesome web templates there. And even better than that, it's a way that enables you to create your own template packs as well. And some of the stuff that I wanted to show you was how can we create templates remotely from GitHub? So that's really what I was going to show you guys was some new features that we're working on in SideWaffle. Let's say if you had 10 different projects that you wanted to create and you wanted to create templates out of it. Now with some features that we're going to work on in SideWaffle, all you really have to do is just check it into GitHub, add a couple new files to the project, and then share the URL with your friend. And then he would add the URL in a JSON file, and then restart VS, and then your templates would actually just start showing up. But in either case, maybe I can come back on some other time for that, or you did figure it out some. I'll try to get the material out there somehow. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on, and I hope you guys really love ASP.NET 5, and definitely do give us feedback. We're all available on Twitter. and we're definitely looking for feedback. That's both good feedback and bad feedback. We gotta have it both to actually get it right.
Okay. What we'll do, we'll thank you. I'll stop the broadcast, and then we'll keep you online just if anyone else has got any other questions. But I think I can stop the broadcast, but we can keep chatting. So,
Okay.
would everyone thank Sayed for his presentation?